Hey guys, and welcome to my and Namet's reaction to the Endwalker dungeon crawl. And so we might get some of our speculation wrong because I personally think that in the first minute there are two different dungeons. But before I go into any more details, this is obviously Endwalker spoiler territory. If you don't want to be spoiled, please avoid this video. I take absolutely no offense. Please do not spoilerize yourself. So I'm just gonna start from the first one. Um So, Aetherochemical Research Facility absolutely had involved in it some level of like human augmentation. Body, you had very morbid, kind of dark vibes where it was very fleshy, and that was seen in Heaven's Ward with Aetherochemical Research Facility. And even then, I found it a little creepy and a little scary. And then I see this, and I'm immediately taken back to that. As well as it's kind of giving some Void Ark vibes, but I feel like this is Void Ark, but taken 9,000 more steps forward. I don't know. It's
No,
super
absolutely. It's
scary.
very creepy. It's very creepy. It's giving me like these like Lovecraftian horror, mind flayer esque vibes. It's
Mm-hmm.
definitely like gross. It's like almost like alien esque. Like you have these like fleshy hallways. It's very much like
Matrix. That's
body
what the
horror.
towers reminded me of. Matrix,
But,
because you remember from the
oh
Matrix how
yeah,
they
it
had the
totally
humans in the
does.
pods. This
Yeah,
is
all the pods. It
yes.
does look kind of
Sorry,
like
I
that.
literally just thought about that just now. Oh my
But
god.
yeah, dude, it's cool. And anyone that's into like that kind of stuff would really like it. That kind of aesthetic. It's I don't know.
I mean, as
I
someone
find
who's
body horror a bit off-putting, but that's kind of cool.
I mean, remember, like, I've done cadaver work and, like, worked making, like, medical prosections for, like, medical students to study off of. Like, so it doesn't bug me, but I can see, like, someone else being far more freaked out by this than me. But, like, I'm seeing consistent themes like vertebral columns. Obviously, I guess everyone would get that. I see, like, a thoracic cage with, like, the different ribs above, like, some of the gateways. It's like there are some extremely obvious, like, themes. It's just, like, even as you see, like, that, like, spine come out and like attach in, like you are seeing where like the spinal cord would actually go through, which would be, I guess, like that little center thing. And so like that would be like where the central nervous system would like go through. Like to me that looks very much like a vertebral column, and then like that little hole with the like thing. I mean, maybe that's maybe I'm revealing too much of what I actually studied in this video, but like I'm getting those vibes, and I think that that's so cool because it's just like, but one thing that is interesting to note about that is if the central nervous system, like the spinal cord itself, is missing from there, what if it was there? Like, what exactly are we making? Because it's just like, obviously, there is a lot of flesh here. What are we making? Are we making something akin to like an old god, something like that, or World of Warcraft like that? Like, I think that this is spectacular, honestly, because it's just it's capturing a horror vibe that we've seen tiny tones of, but we haven't really seen them dive fully into. And so I'm kind of blown away by this personally.
Yeah, I definitely think it's going to be very interesting. Again, like the aesthetic's not really my thing. I find that kind of stuff a little bit off-putting, but
Oh no, it is to
it's
me
just
too. But
cool.
like I can look at
Yeah,
it and I can see like the artistry behind it, and I'm like, this is incredible. Because especially like when we were through the Void Arc, we would see them with the coffins of all of the Void entities along the walls. And so to anyone saying that, oh, like doing this to like something is like super wrong and super new to the game, we've already seen it in Void Arc. It's just we were doing it to the entities from that other world, which if we like remember from the lore, used to be people just like the ones that we'd see on Eorzea, like on our like world. It's just like, and we were doing that in the Void Arc already. And so to me, Matrix, Void Arc, I'm Aetherochemical Research Facility, these are all themes we've seen, but it's obvious that through the story that it's just being pushed by Fandaniel and Xenos now to a level that like I'm wondering, like, are they trying to create a god here or something, like a deity on Eorzea? Like it's like what, like, yeah, we have the summons, okay, that's fine, but when I'm seeing like all this flesh, the like central nervous system, the vertebral columns, I'm like, you're trying to make maybe something even more crazy, like something we have no ability to like really contextualize in Final Fantasy 14 right now. That's at least where my mind's going. Like there has to be some big end.
yeah, it's gonna be really interesting just to see where that goes.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I don't really have too much more to add to that. That's kind of like where I'm at with that.
So now we're going to be 43 seconds into the video, which I know people might disagree and be like, this is the same dungeon as the last one. I personally think that this is a different dungeon because we are getting an incredibly different theme. Based on the story, I think that the first dungeon is us literally going into the big tower erected in Garlemald, and I think that this one, though, is us in the Palace of Garlemald. I don't see the same theme. People might be like, oh, the OST is the same, but I'm getting a completely different vibe here. To me, this looks like the Garlean Palace, and yes, you are seeing things, like you are seeing like the centipede like spines across like the walls and that. Obviously, you are getting those themes so clearly, but it's like a lot of it also looks much more mechanical. Like you're getting like mechanical spines and that. You're not necessarily getting like the kind of like, I don't know, like kind of off-putting like horror vibes. That's like, I mean, I was just talking to Name It and he's just like, yeah, I don't really like that aesthetic, and I'm like, I can't blame you. It is, even to me who has literally seen and done it like as part of like school and my education and like medical, it's like it's still kind of makes me a little triggered, but to me it's very different vibe. It's more mechanical. It's just like you're getting just a little bit of the horror. It's not, I think almost, if I was going to do this, if I was going to rearrange this for less shock factor, which I think that they want the shock factor, I would rearrange it where I saw this dungeon first, which is clearly leading you into that domain, and then the other one, because that one is just so bam, it's a shocker. I don't know, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, it's really clear that like Xenos kind of went back to that palace and was doing some messed up, voidy, scary, ominous stuff. That's what's going on. You got like all like little mechanical spines. Like it's clear that something's happened there.
Yeah, something's going on.
That we saw earlier on in the story, right? So that's like the Garlean Palace, and
I mean, I'd say it's still pretty overt with the like spines across the walls on the floor. Though, like I'm just watching the footage in the background, I'm like,
it absolutely is.
It's clear something's wrong, but it's not as, it doesn't necessarily dunk you in like the first one. I don't know how else to say it. It's like the first one is like
very gross.
Yeah,
it was like here all the walls are just covered in flesh. Here's like a bunch of like
the first one is just like, I need to take my backside to church. I'm trying to avoid like swearing, so like I need to take my backside to church now. This is what I feel after the first one. This one is like, okay, I need to start like praying in my room. But the first one's like, okay, I need to literally go to church. I don't know what else to say on that. It's, to me, that's the palace. We're invading the palace, maybe in the story, and but we haven't seen the full level of how warped things have gone. But like, that's kind of where I'm at with this. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, exactly.
So what I believe is the third dungeon starts 1 minute 30 seconds in, and obviously we are getting Ascian vibes. But to me, just looking at the surrounding area, at least to me, this is very different than the moon. It's like, where's the stars in the sky? And you could argue, oh, that's just an Ascian illusion. But where I'm going, at least, is that this might be somewhere in, like, deep Garlemald territory, where, like, because, like, if you look further into the distance, you can see very clearly it's white. So immediately that takes my brain to the burn, which we know from the lore, the Garleans had to, like, deal with the burn and with primal sucking all the aether away. And so to me, in my mind at least, this is very much giving me, this is like a secret Ascian headquarters in Garlemald. We know how closely the Ascians are tied to Garlemald, and so it's just situated in the burn where no one really wants to go to the burn. And it's just like the Ascians obviously erected like a barrier around it, just being like, hey, this is going to be our little domed off area in the burn. No one is going to come to the burn. We can be pretty confident that we can establish like a base of operations. And then people might be like, oh, well, this is so extravagant. Do you really think that this would be like a base on the first? And to me, absolutely, because the ancients built Garlemald, which has gone to the point that it has, but like they have been in the process of doing this for such a long time in the storyline that I do believe that a firm base of operations on the moon, as well as on the planet itself, would absolutely be important for them. And so to me, this is that base.
Yeah, and just talking about that, like I almost wonder if it could be like a rocket launching facility or something to like get to the moon, because it's got like it's right out there in like the middle of like what looks like a desert, right? It's kind of looks kind of desolate. It looks like you're high up the ground. Like I could see them having like towers off in the distance. I don't know. It just reminds me of like the rocket launching facility that like I saw, for example, when I played like the most recent Gears of War game.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't
And
know
I
if you
mean, you
played
see
that
the
one.
experiments throughout there. It's just
Yeah.
like if you look at the background, it's just like you see lava pits through some of it. And there's very obviously some aether, some manipulation going on here. And so to me, this is like, to me, in my mind, this looks like the base of operations and like facility that they had on the planet. Because I really don't think that they would be associating uh, in like the middle of Garlemald, for instance. To me, that wouldn't make sense. It's just like, oh, my resting area is in Garlemald. It's like, no. They wouldn't. I don't think that they'd want to put themselves at risk like that, because it's just like we've seen like their base of operations as we've moved in Shadowbringers, and then we saw how Emet Selch created that entire city. Now we've seen the base of operations on the moon. To me, this is another base of operations, but it's on the planet. This is unlike the moon, though. This looks very sciencey. This looks like it has a specific purpose as a facility. The moon was giving me home. This one's giving me, we're here to do business and we're here to like achieve scientific end. Actually, you were talking about the space thing, and it's like in the background, like 1 minute 44 seconds in, I am seeing this big spiraling tower that loops upwards, and it's just like easily this maybe could be a rocket launching pad. Maybe there's some difference between the aether qualities on the moon or not, or maybe they were just porting or moving supplies through that. I think that that's all very possible.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Like I see that, and I just get this like huge like, okay, this is like a staging base. That's what it feels like.
And it's just looking in the background, like to me it looks like they just erected a barrier around here and was like, in the burn where no one's gonna come, boop, this is where we are gonna perform operations and come to, which I think is brilliant,
Like
because it's like, who wants to go to the burn?
it makes sense, and then obviously like it's clear that they're gonna want to be doing that work away from anywhere where it could cause damage, right? So it'd have to be in a isolated location.
Yeah, it's like an Area 52 almost. It's
Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah,
like,
exactly.
yeah, this is like
It's a way
Aor's
to
is
cross
equivalent of
eye.
52.
Yes, exactly.
But yeah, that kind of concludes my thoughts on all the dungeons. I don't know, where are you at with that? Like,
Yeah, it's definitely really cool, and like I want to hear more like details about like the lore and
same.
whatnot. But I'm sure they'll announce that with time.
Same. I'm dying to actually play these, but I guess
Yeah,
that this is probably not the video for that, so I'm just gonna cut it off there. I'm thoroughly impressed with what I see, and I actually can't wait to go in. The themes, like, it's crazy to me. I love it.
yeah, it'll
The
be so
first
fun.
dungeon. I'm gonna need to pray. Gonna need to pray after that one and before that one, but it's so cool. It's a theme that, you know what, we've seen little hints of it throughout the lore, but now it's been taken way far, which I think is fascinating. But yeah, I'm gonna be praying. But
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, thank you everyone for tuning in. And do you want to do the outro?
Yeah, thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this video, throw a spinning space cat daddy at that like button, and I don't know, and throw a Thavanarian space onion at that subscribe button.
Oh my god, I need that drawn now. It's the Avenarian Space Onion. I love that. As well as the
Yeah,
Cat Daddy in Space Suit. I love it. Well, thank you all for tuning in,
exactly.
everyone. Take care and be well.
Take care. Peace out, guys.